Repair people will tell you that top loads are the only machines worth buying. The internet will tell you front loads do everything better. After 33,190 service calls last year, I can tell you the real answer is a lot more nuanced. Front loads are not as unreliable as you think, and mold is real, but somewhat manageable. Speed Queen deserves to be part of this conversation, and the washer I'd be most careful with is not the one you expect. So let's make this simple. I'm going to walk you through the 5 areas that matter most: reliability, mold, cleaning, capacity, and what these machines really cost over time. Let's start with reliability, because this is where the biggest myth still lives. A lot of people still think top loads are more reliable than front loads. Last year, top loads had a 4.4% service rate in the first year. Front loads were 4.6%. 0.2% is not a meaningful difference when you're buying a washer. In fact, one of the lowest first-year service rates we track was an LG front load at 2.7%. It doesn't mean that every LG is perfect. It means the old idea that front loads are reliability disasters and top loads are always safer just doesn't hold up the way you think. Now let's talk about mold, because this is the part that probably scares you off from front loads, and to be fair, it's a real issue. Front loads have a rubber gasket that seals the tub. After a wash, water can sit in that gasket and in the dispenser. If you shut the door and walk away every time, moisture builds up. That's where the smell starts. Top loads don't trap the water the same way, so they're much less prone. G took a different approach with its ultra-fresh models. They use microband surfaces and a fan to keep the gasket and drum drier after the cycle. It doesn't eliminate maintenance, but it does help reduce the moisture that causes the problem. If you're buying an LG, Samsung, Electrolux, or Whirlpool, preventing mold is pretty simple. I wipe the gasket with a towel after each load, and I leave the door open when I'm done, and I've never had mold in mine. But you don't want to think about that at all. Buy a top load. Now let's talk about cleaning, because this is where front loads have a real advantage. A front load moves clothes through a small pool of water using gravity and friction. It cleans well, and it's easier on fabric. A traditional top load with an agitator twists clothes back and forth. It works, but it can be tougher on what you wash. You've probably seen sheets come out twisted and not. I used to get that in my top load when I lived in Jamaica Plain a few years ago. Speed Queen's a little different. Their TC series is one of the most aggressive top loads you can buy. It cleans extremely well, especially for heavily soiled clothes, which is not what I would call gentle on fabric. TR series is softer on clothes and doesn't tangle sheets the same way, but also doesn't have the same cleaning power. Then there is the hybrid top load. This is the washer with huge capacity, neither a smaller agitator or no agitator at all. On paper, it looks like the best of both worlds. Usually it's not. You get more room for bulky items, but not the same cleaning action as a full agitator, not the fabric care of a front load. So if cleaning performance matters most, front loads are usually the best machine. If your clothes are really dirty, the Speed Queen TC series is still one of the most aggressive cleaners you can buy. Now let's talk about capacity, because that's where the numbers can fool you. Front loads are usually the largest washers. Most are between 4.5 to 5.5 cubic feet. Traditional top loader with a full agitator is usually closer to 3.5 cubic feet. And part of that space is taken up by the agitator itself, so the usable space is smaller than it looks on paper by about 0.4 to 0.6 cubic feet. That matters if you wash comforters, bulky items, or just a lot of laundry every week. Then there's the hybrid top load. On paper, these can look huge, and yes, you can fit more inside. You get more room, but not the same cleaning action as a front load or a full agitator top load. So if you want the most usable space for big loads, front loads usually have the advantage. Now let's talk about operating cost over time between both. The big difference is spin speed. Most traditional top loads spin at around 700, 850 RPM. Front loaders usually spin between 1100 and 1300 RPM. That extra spin speed pulls out a lot more water before the cycle ends. So when you wash towels or sweatshirts in a top load, they usually come out wetter. That usually means more time in the dryer, more energy use, and higher utility costs over time. Keep that in mind. A typical front load also uses about 10 to 14 gallons of water per cycle. A traditional top load can use 30 to 40 gallons. Some larger ones usually use more. Hybrids usually fall somewhere in the middle at about 18. But the biggest cost is not the washer, it is the dryer. A front load spins faster and pulls out more water before the cycle ends. That means the dryer has less work to do. You never think about that. Based on 500 loads a year here in Massachusetts with an electric dryer, the annual operating cost was about $813 for a top load washer and matching dryer versus $580 for a front load. That's a difference of about $230, $240 a year. So yes, a top load may cost a little less to buy, but over time, a front load can make that difference in water, electricity, and shorter drying time. So if you care about low utility costs, a front load is the better choice. Now let's talk about price. A traditional top load is usually the least expensive option. You can still find them in the $499 to $599 range. A basic front load in promotion is not much more, usually around $699 to $799. Hybrid top loaders run between $699 and $849. That is about the same price as a better front load. And then there's Speed Queen, and no, I don't hate them. A Speed Queen top load usually costs between $1,400 and $1,500. Capacity is small, around 3.5 cubic feet, and that includes the agitator space. So what you're paying for is heavier construction, a simpler mechanical design, and a longer warranty. Some models go up to 7 years. They're also easy to repair. So yes, you're going to save money buying a top load. The initial cost is lower. If it needs service later, that repair is usually less expensive too. So price and service costs matter most. A top load is the better choice. So here's the simple version. If you want the lowest price and the lowest service cost, buy a top load. If you want better cleaning, lower annual operating costs, and shorter drying times, buy a front load. If mold is the biggest concern and you don't want to think about wiping a gasket, buy a top load or look at GE's Ultra Fresh models. And if clothes get really dirty and cleaning matters more than fabric care, the Speed Queen TC is worth a look. If you think about a hybrid top load, be careful. On paper, it looks like a good compromise. Usually it's not. There's no one perfect washer. There's the one that fits your house, your laundry, and how much maintenance you want to deal with. If you want to see the best front load washers, click this video, or the best top loaders, click this one. And thanks for watching.